Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, we're going to be diving back into a market-wide update, taking a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as the total market cap so that we know exactly what to expect over the next couple weeks. As the market has been consolidating, a lot of people have been getting shaken out. This has been a pretty trying correction that we've seen inside this market, and we've seen sentiment dipping as low as some of the levels that we saw all the way back of March in 2020. This is a time where there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of uncertainty, which is why we need to look at the charts to give us a clear understanding of where the direction of the market is going to be headed. And I think that I have some very important charts to share with you guys that are going to do exactly that. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Make sure you guys hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos like the one provided for you here. And make sure you guys sign up and join the Discord server of over 21,000 members and growing. Links are in the description for the people that want to join my community. On top of that, if you want extra educational content, you can also download my free ebook and beginner's guide to crypto. Links are in the description. Go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, guys, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, so here we are. It's been a couple weeks since my last update, so I figured today for Monday we might as well start off by taking a look at just about every major chart that we possibly can, giving you guys a couple ways to look at, the Bitcoin chart, Ethereum chart, and then we're also going to be diving into the FBTC as well as the total market caps as well. I wanted to give you guys a full around update. It's been a couple weeks. I've been super busy with my NFT project. On top of that, I also just needed a break. Christmas was around, wanted to spend time with family, so I'm sure you guys can always understand all of that stuff. But I am back. Expect me to be back at my normal routine. I did just need to take a little bit of a break between working with my NFT project as well as just spending time with family. So now that we're back, let's dive into what we're seeing inside of the Bitcoin chart. The last few days have really been good for Bitcoin, and over the last 24 hours, I think that we've got some confirmation from that point. So what I was looking for was really just this descending resistance. Obviously speaking, inside of a correction, if you're going to be bullish, if you're going to reverse the trend, you need to break out of the bear trend. In this case, we had a short-term bearish correction. And then over the last couple days, we've actually broken outside of this. And so as it stands, this is a breakout from this descending resistance. Exactly what we want to see if we're looking to target another new all-time high for Bitcoin. I don't really think anything on the bigger picture changes. For me, guys, what I was watching for in this correction, if Bitcoin would have sold below let's just go with 40K, so it's an easy, even number. If Bitcoin would have sold below 40K, at that point, that's when I would have been looking that potentially we could have been topping early, we could have been entering the bear market, but that's not actually what happened. We ended up getting this big capitulation wick, and we came close to tagging all the way down at 40K, but we stopped at about, $42,500. So we've pretty much already got that flush that would have taken us back down to this major level, because you guys got to remember that this was resistance over here. It was resistance throughout this entire consolidation that we saw inside of the last, 3 months of the short-term bear cycle. And then once we ended up getting that impulse, we flipped it as support here. We broke it, and then we flipped it as support here once again, and then we even came back down and nearly retested it inside of that final capitulation wick that we saw about a month ago. We had this level in the bear market where we saw pretty much every time we reacted to this level, we went lower, and so we knew that we needed to break above it if we were going to be going higher. And so the fact is, we've stayed above this level the entire time, and that was kind of my line in the sand. If we went below this level, I was actually going to be thinking that we might be bearish. We might target another new low, but we've held up to this point, and so nothing has really changed inside of my trading plan. And I don't think anything should change for you guys. We've still got this major support and resistance flip of this $40,000 level. We didn't even come down and retest that. And so now that we're breaking out of the descending resistance of this correction, I don't really foresee us, having that potential that we're going to be going into new lows. I think it's likely that we're going to rally upwards of about 58, 59,000. From here, we could see a little bit of a correction, but regardless, I don't think that changes anything. I think that this market should continue to see more upside as we consolidate from here. I've always been sticking with my bullish targets. I've always kind of stuck with that thesis that we're going to be going into new all-time highs. And even though we did actually break an all-time high and then come all the way back down and have this 40% correction, it really didn't change my personal, bias. Like I've stated, if we would have broken below 40,000, then yeah, I would have had to change my bias a little bit. I would have started to draw some bearish alternatives, and I would have looked to actually hedge some of my profits with shorts. We have not done that. We've pretty much only held support. We've even held support above, the last impulse, which if we draw our Elliott waves, it was this one here. We pretty much saw 5 impulse waves, very clear 5 impulse waves on the way up. And in this correction, we still held support above our higher high. So there's really no reason to think that this is going to go into a new low. And that's why I haven't really been stressing it so much. I took a break, because there really wasn't a lot going on in the markets. I didn't need to sit here and beat the dead horse. And so now that we're actually breaking from this resistance, I think that that's the confirmation that this correction is going to be over. What I want to see is a quick impulse upwards of about 58, 59,000, like I said. From there, we might get a little bit of a 10% dip, but I don't think it's going to change anything. This, in my opinion, is going to take us up, get a little correction. That's what's ultimately going to be taking us into another new all-time high. And when we come over here and look at ETH, in my opinion, ETH is kind of telling a similar story. So ETH, a lot of people were worried about Ethereum inside of this correction because we've had this trend line, right? This is the trend line that we've been riding on ever since we found a support bottom when Bitcoin bottomed at 29,000. ETH rallied all the way up into another new all-time high, and we ended up getting that correction. Now, at this correction, we actually ended up seeing ETH kind of temporarily pierce below this trend line. And then we ended up actually kind of piercing below it throughout this entire period. And a lot of people got scared. A lot of people were saying, I don't like seeing the weakness in ETH right now. Because ETH is just barely below its trend line, I think that this is going to create a big drop. And I saw a lot of people even targeting for a drop all the way back down to like $2,800 for Ethereum. And so I was watching for the same potential. And if Bitcoin would have actually made another low, then yeah, I would have thought that that was a little bit more likely. But what we've seen with Ethereum is even though we're technically a little bit below this trend line, what I always tell you guys is to remember that trend lines aren't going to be one specific line that you can draw. We have to view them as more of a zone. So it should be viewed something more along the lines of this, right? Where you get these two lines and really you kind of get these zones where the prices can wick in between and they can consolidate in between the zones. But it really doesn't change anything. This, in my opinion, is still just a support retest of this trend line. Even though we're a little bit below where we originally started at, this to me is still just stitching of a trend line. And you're going to see this play out quite a bit. And we can look at a number of examples of stitching that play out. Even if we came all the way back down here at like $340. I bought a lot of Ethereum throughout this period right here. And it's kind of similar to what we see here. We find this correction, and then we just kind of start stitching our way back up in this uptrend until finally we make an impulse, right? It's very similar to what we saw here inside of Ethereum today. Obviously, it's a little bit different because this is happening on a shorter period of time. But whenever you see a retest of a trend line, and there really isn't very big candles, but there's a lot of wicks, you can see that the prices are moving a lot. But they're kind of just staying in between, a very specific price area. In this case, we're not seeing very big swings. The candles are just barely moving up. This is what you're going to see inside of a stitching market. When a market is making stitching candles as it's accumulating, you're going to see these type of patterns play out ultimately before a market breaks out. So that's kind of what I'm watching for with ETH. It hinges upon Bitcoin. If Bitcoin ultimately does what I'm drawing right here, then we'll expect to see ETH do the same thing. I don't think this trend line's going to fail. It was getting a little hairy right here, but with how the markets are looking with Bitcoin kind of bouncing and breaking its trend line, I honestly think that Ethereum is going to be holding here. And so there's nothing really to be fearful of. If we broke this trend line, if we make a sizable correction like this, and then we kind of make a rally back up like that. At that point, I'm obviously going to be looking for more downside. But I just don't think that this is looking like a downside move. With this wick getting bought up so quickly off of that support, and then with us never even managing to go below that wick, I just think that it's more likely we're going to bounce back up, and then we'll do something along the lines of this. So this is what I'm watching out for with ETH and Bitcoin. And with the ETH-BTC pair, I think that this kind of tells a very similar story. We actually are pulling back a little bit. We didn't end up holding on support right here. We ended up bouncing a little bit, but now we're actually selling off once again. So in the short term, we will most likely be going a little bit lower. This is probably going to be an ABC correction that takes us back down to about right here. But from that point, I would expect a bounce, and we should expect to see something along the lines of this, right? Where whenever we do finish this short-term correction, we'll bounce, and then that should continue us up into the next impulse. Because here's the thing, guys. This has kind of just been this area of consolidation for a little while now. This was our first breakout from this accumulation. This accumulation is a long period of time, like 3 years, 950 days approximately, in which we've just went sideways. And so this is our first breakout from that. This is our first breakout from this resistance here. See this red resistance? We consolidated below this resistance throughout this entire 3 years. And then this was the breakout that took us past that. So this entire correction is us just building before we get our big move to the upside. I honestly think that the next moves coming are going to be the ones where we see similar moves like this, where they pretty much just go really parabolic. This is what we're going to expect to see at the end of a cycle anyways. And so if this truly is going to be the end of a cycle, we would kind of expect to see something, along the lines of this, where we might get a quick breakout, might consolidate close towards these previous all-time highs. And then that should take us, once we break the all-time highs, that is where I would expect to get our final blow off top, where we kind of see these type of moves. The end of the parabolic rally, right? This is kind of what I'm watching for. Whenever you see a market that's creating this big of a rounded bottom type of accumulation structure, when they do create a blow off top, they create one, and it ends up looking similar to this, where you kind of just have the beginning of the uptrend, you start making the first impulses in that parabolic trend. And then once you've made the first parabolic impulse, the next ones that follow are usually really quick. They happen sudden, and they're really big in size. So it'll be something along the lines of this. So this is what I'm watching out for with ETH BTC. The cool thing that I want you guys to pay attention for with this chart and why I brought it up today is because, in my opinion, the FBTC chart is kind of our ultimate alt-season indicator. We can look at this and then the Bitcoin dominance because they're pretty much the same chart. And this is going to be telling us where the altcoins are going to be headed. So we have never seen a true alt season this entire bull cycle because we've never seen this FBTC chart actually outperform against its BTC pair on the big picture, right? We've never made a new all-time high once this cycle. We've been pretty much just doing nothing this entire cycle for Ethereum BTC. Now, we've already seen the shift take place. We've already seen this breaking out. It's going to keep breaking out. And so as this continues to play out, we're going to expect to see altcoins as a whole do the same thing. Whenever ETH BTC outperforms, the rest of the altcoins end up doing the same. Not every altcoin will outperform their BTC pairs, but for the majority of them, they will at the end of the cycle. Because the end of the cycle, Bitcoin's already gone up a lot. It takes a lot of money to make Bitcoin's price double, and it takes a lot less money for altcoins to double in price. So when at the end of the blow off top, when you see all this money kind of come into the market at the end of the cycle, you always see the altcoins that haven't really done a whole lot, or the ones that have lagged behind Bitcoin. They usually have a quick outperformance against their Bitcoin pair, and it ends up looking something like this, where everything just has one big pump, and then that usually just crashes instantly. And so this will be the good pump that we can use to pretty much just get exit liquidity into. We've been holding and accumulating throughout this entire period, whether it's Ethereum, whether it's Chainlink, whether it's a number of the other altcoins out there. We're going to be wanting to watch Ethereum BTC because when this move happens, we want to be taking profits as a whole on all of our cryptos. That's my plan. That's what I'm watching for, and so this is what I think you guys should pay attention for with FBTC. Now, as we get towards the end of the video, we're going to be taking a look at the total market cap of crypto. We're going to be looking at the total as well as the total excluding Bitcoin, or just the altcoin total market cap. And I wanted to share with you guys this one because there's a couple things I'm watching for here. Now, with the market cap chart, this to me just looks like a very clear impulse. Now, what I've been sharing with you guys in the Bitcoin pair was how this looks to be a couple different wave counts that we can see in here. But when it comes to total market cap, in my opinion, this looks like a pretty solid impulse. I think that it's clearly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse up. And then we did get our ABC back down. ABC, right? This would have been our corrective move. And so if this is the case, this means our entire first impulse is done. And if we pull our fibs, I wanted to share with you guys what our actual market cap targets will be for this cycle. Because this is the total market cap, right? This is every crypto as a whole. So if this is wave 1, we have to go to at least the 1618 for wave 3 to be at least the same size. As a rule of thumb, wave 3 is generally going to be bigger than the 1618, but that at a minimum target is going to be 5 trillion in market cap. So our minimum target for market cap should be at least 5 trillion. Now, as a rule of thumb, wave 3 is going to generally be bigger than the 1618, which is going to be the same size wave 1. It's going to be anywhere from about in between the 1618, the 2618, even above the 2618. Wave 3 can really vary in a parabolic market. But let's just say that we come up here and we double wave 1, which would be the 2618. This is very customary in an Elliott wave impulse. That would be taking us upwards of $6.9 trillion. So we could see something like this, guys. This was wave 1. We make wave 3 all the way up here to the 2618. We pull back, and then we still have a wave 5. And so when it comes to looking at what potentially our targets could be at the end of the cycle, to me, 10 trillion isn't that far off. And when it comes to looking at our Fibonacci targets, kind of the thing that I've been sharing with you guys about how I got my Bitcoin targets, if we measure from the low of wave 3 to the high back to the midpoint, and then we look upwards of the 4236 to the 4618, you know, we're going to be looking at anywhere from about 10 to 12.5 trillion in market cap. And when it comes to looking at the Elliott waves, this isn't even that far off, because if this truly is a one wave, then these targets of us going upwards of, you know, 10 to 12 trillion, it's not actually that far off. And we would expect to see a market cap top somewhere right around 10 trillion is my guess. And so I think that that's a safe number. 10 trillion in total market cap for the entirety of cryptos. I think that that's a safe number. I do believe we could even extend higher than that. Maybe we go to 12.5. Maybe we even go a little bit higher than that. You know, it's kind of hard to say exactly, but I do believe that 10 trillion is a pretty solid number. It's an even number. I think that a lot of people would be looking to take profits at a number like that, but it doesn't necessarily matter. I just think that the big thing to understand here is the impulse that we just saw. We do have a clear 5 impulses off of the lows into a new all-time high, and this was our first corrective move after wave 5. I think that this next wave 3 is going to happen, and it's going to go very parabolic. And so, guys, the whole point of the videos for the last couple months have been preparing us for this final blow off top. Even though the end of the year time frames are obviously not going to be met, because look, guys, the end of the year is right here. Let's draw a line real quick. The end of the year is right here. So we've only got, you know, like a week, less than a week until the end of the year. So obviously speaking, we're not going to be selling at the end of the year. We're going to be holding until this thing goes parabolic. I want to make that very, very clear. I personally am straying from my time frames because the price action does not line up with what we want to see with profit taking. I'm not going to be somebody that takes profits when Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptos are just barely sitting at or near their all-time highs. I'm looking for the parabolic impulse. If I'm wrong and we know we never get a parabolic impulse, I guess that's my mistake and I'll be looking like an idiot soon, but I would rather wait for that move. I think, and I'm trusting my own analysis here, trusting my own gut, I personally believe that we're going to see a very parabolic type of move, and you're better off selling into that type of parabolic rally than you are selling based off of the time frame alone. I've been very adamant about the time frames and sticking to those, but we can very obviously tell that we're not going to be seeing a cycle top at this time frame, and so I think it's a lot more reasonable to hold into January and wait for a new all-time high, wait for a parabolic rise, a big, big move in price. That's what I'm watching for. In my opinion, 5 trillion would be a low-end target. I think at least 5 trillion is where you want to wait for taking profits. That's at least what I'm going to be doing. You guys can do what you want at the end of the day, but that's kind of what I'm watching for. Now, when it comes to total altcoin market cap, nothing changes here. It's exactly the same as the last one. I could draw targets. It's not going to change anything. I think that the total altcoin market cap could peak at about 5 trillion. I think that that is roughly where we will see the altcoin total market cap. And then we should see, you know, the rest of the crypto total market cap topping somewhere right around 10 trillion. This is what I'm watching for, guys. I wanted to give you guys a full round market update. It's been a couple weeks since my last upload. Needed to take a break. Needed to focus on some other things. But I did want to give you guys this update. Lots of bullish things are playing out. Nothing has changed in my bigger picture analysis. The fact that we're breaking this descending resistance, in my opinion, is bullish. We should expect to see Ethereum hold support as well. Bitcoin and ETH will both go up in tandem, with FBTC actually outperforming. This is what we want to see for Altseason. Altcoins look to be leading up with a lot more upside coming. You know, the total market cap looks arguably more bullish than Bitcoin does, which is exactly what we want to see. Lots of bullish sentiment in the market, and I look forward to watching you guys make an ultimate killing as we get closer towards the blow-off top of the cycle. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for the support of this channel. Sorry it's been a little while. Wanted to make sure that I spent a little bit of time elsewhere, but now that we're back, expect new uploads once per day as we get back into the crypto markets. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found value, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos. Join the Discord server, download download my free ebook. Links are in the description for that. If you guys want to join the Discord server, follow every trade that I take. You know, whatever I'm doing inside the market with my money, I post it inside my private Discord. If you guys want to know what I'm doing in the private Discord, links are in the description for you guys to go ahead and sign up. My website linked in there. Every other social media is linked in there. If you guys ever need to get a hold of me, links are in the description. Check it out. And I look forward to seeing you guys inside of that group. Thank you all so much for watching. And with that being said, I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.